camera.
All right. I think check. I think we are recording.
Testing. We're recording.
We're good.
I see red.
Yep. Here, everybody sounds good.
Yep.
Everybody looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Xtra Real with Palomas.
Yep.
Yeah. There we go.
Our first one.
Yep.
So
So we'll start with introducing ourselves. My name is Tutti, DJ Tutti V,
Let's get them.
aka Coach Tutti, aka a man of many skills.
all right. My name is Laura. I am Judy's wife, and him and I both own Palomas.
That's super simple. I love that.
Yeah.
And I am Brian Davis. I'm the CEO of Be Extra. And we just fill gaps that's out there in the community and wear many hats like my man Tutti over here, from daddy to coach to husband to whatever is out there. But these are my folks right here.
Yep.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so with those introductions, we have been kind of brainstorming about doing a podcast together.
Yes.
Well, before we asked Brian to be a part of this, Lauda was kind of thinking this in her head. It's kind of her brainchild.
Yeah.
And when we said we wanted to add somebody, the first thought was Brian. It was simple, man.
That was just a simple yes for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
I didn't have to think about that.
Yeah, no, and it's been cool. We've collabed quite a bit with Brian.
Absolutely.
The man does a lot for the community, and so I mean, we can talk about this for days.
We can just go on and on.
Yeah.
Just the team up that we have, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
So, well, we thought about the podcast. We had talked about what do we want to do with it.
Correct.
I think one of the things that we had talked about was we acknowledge again that Brian is a big part of the community, and a community what I call a game changer in the community.
Oh, I like that.
And I feel like that's something that we're starting to do. We want to
right
be
there.
Mhm.
we want to we are. I think we're doing
Right there.
we're at the baby
Absolutely.
steps of it, but
Yeah.
we definitely want to expand on it, but also I think let people into that world,
Mhm.
right? Right now it's the three of us, but we talked about maybe having some guests in the future.
Absolutely.
But also part of it's going to be some self-bragging.
That's it. And it's hard to do that.
It
ain't
is.
Up.
Yeah.
It's hard to do that.
Brian with Be Extra literally lives up to that name. The camera doesn't do it justice, but right now he has his
This is on accident,
PTSO
too.
shirt on
That's it.
for AK.
That's right. Another one of them hats,
Yeah, but it's blinged out. Like again, the cameras don't do it justice, but it's blinged out in true Brian form, in true Be Extra form. And then like us, we're just trying to figure out how to expand our reach and our
Mhm.
growth. I was thinking about this earlier about how like we recorded earlier with a friend of ours.
Uh-huh.
Shout out to Courtney.
What up, Courtney?
But I don't know of any other bars, businesses that are doing things like this.
Right.
So I don't know. We're just trying to grow and trying to figure out how to make this happen. I think one of the goals was to let people in kind of into our world and realize that we're pretty chill.
Mhm.
We try to be real.
That's the
and-
big
As
piece.
real as
That's
it
the
can
big
get.
piece
Yes.
right there.
yeah. So hence the name Xtra Real with Palomas.
Mhm.
But yes, that's a little bit about what we're hoping to get out of this podcast. We're trying right now the audio and visual component of it. We're learning.
Yep.
So bear with us. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll get better.
Yeah.
That's it. It looks good.
We'll
right
get it
here.
dialed
That's it. We're
in.
gonna get it dialed extra
Yeah.
too.
So I want to open up with the question.
Okay.
What is your goal for 2025?
You want to take this one first?
Okay, I'll start it off.
Okay.
I think my goal, I've talked about it in a different podcast that Tutti and I had done. Just myself, I've grown a lot myself.
Mhm.
Just even doing this. So I hope to just expand and grow myself. Because if I can grow, then I can grow the business. and I can grow into so many other things. So I think I need to focus also on myself to be able to grow personally, to be able to do a lot more and accomplish more. So, like I said, Paloma's is like our brainchild and it's like our baby. So I want us to grow our business, but also myself. And it's going to be a lot of different things. So I don't know if I answered that right or not, but whatever.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, no right or wrong.
I love it. Growth.
It's all real. Right? It's always real, and it's from the heart. So, Brian, you want to go ahead and
go? For me, and Be Extra, actually, this is a good example of the networking that I want to do. We've created a good team here, and I think as this team, we want to reach out and grab more people. So our, like Tutti said earlier, is our reach is even bigger. And right now we're in the community, you know, we have Yuba, we have Sutter, you know, Calusa, Live Oak, but I want our arms to keep on reaching to where we can reach over county lines, state lines. I know we went to Tennessee earlier this year, and I want to team up with them and do some stuff for the hurricane survivors and that kind of thing. But I just want to get the reach out there a little bit bigger, and I'm with you. I want to grow and make even more of an impact. 2024 was huge for us. We had some mistakes. We've had some failures on stuff and some disappointments, but had a lot of successes too. So I want to build off of 2024 and then just expand the reach and be able to help as many more people as we can. But we need other people's help. So I want to be that super network guy that we're plugged into wherever we need to go.
Oh, definitely. I would say you're like the glue,
the guy.
Love the network.
Yeah, it's nice to be like, oh, I have an idea. Let's reach out to Brian.
Right.
And bounce off ideas.
Yeah, or connect us to those people.
Correct.
Like we were just having a conversation a minute ago.
Well, the key is we don't know everything, right? And then if we know other people, well, this person might know that and that kind of thing. It just makes us stronger. So I just love to do that. And I used to be afraid to reach out and that kind of thing, but I gave that up. And it's just like, we're just better together.
Right. That's awesome. Great answers from the both of you. Personally, for me, my goal for 2025 is to, one, get in shape.
Can I add that one too?
Yeah, right.
Throw that in there too.
I've mentioned it in our newsletter that goes out, which it'll start going out again more regularly or weekly as planned after the holidays. I have left my full-time job to commit to Paloma's full-time. And part of that was also understanding of having to take care of myself.
Yes, sir.
I was running on fumes weekly.
Preach, sir.
So taking some time to take care of myself.
Yep.
So this is my accountability part. So y'all can keep me in check.
Okay.
I'm not a big gym person, but when I get back into shape, my thing is walking. Okay. So for the last few days, I've done a couple miles a day walking, just kind of getting back into it. Legs are sore, but no, so that's so part of my goal is to get in shape. And to be more involved in my community. At my job previously, I worked with youth in the community, but it was very focus based.
Okay.
I really want to expand beyond working with young people. I'm still planning on coaching and doing those things, but just want to be involved more in the community. I want to be a face that people recognize.
Love it.
I don't know. I'm a people person, so for me, it fuels me. It's my energizer. It charges my batteries. So I just want to be more involved, and and doing things like this, I think will help make those connections, like Brian said, or we both mentioned. I think we all mentioned just growing, and so that's our goals for 2025. And I did want to ask Brian, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your journey with Be Extra, and then we'll share our journey about Paloma.
Done. So with Be Extra, I've been doing this a while. I just didn't have a name for it. And a lot of people would say, I didn't know you were doing that. But by being a basketball coach, I had connections to kids that sometimes were underserved. Um, my wife, well, my sister-in-law, she was in the streets and that type of thing. And I kind of learned how she moved and kind of watched and wasn't for sure exactly how to do it as deep as I am now. So she taught me a lot. And then she ended up passing away, and pretty much because of the streets. So I kind of looked at it like, all right, I gotta find a way to give back, and still didn't have an idea exactly how to do it. I'm a shoe head by trade, so to speak, and we were giving away shoes all the time. If it was fire survivors, different people, obviously kids and that kind of thing. So we were giving away shoes. And I said, I got to do something with it. I had that stirring probably about a year and a half. Oh, I need to do something. And then I went to this men's retreat through Hope Point Nazarene and went up there, and Pastor Doug was like, all right, I'm going to challenge y'all. What are we going to do as men? What's your assignment? And that stuck to me at that point. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take this and run with it and make this my assignment. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I'm gonna jump into it. And so I just started giving out shoes just for free, here and there. And then I met with Jeff Stevens through Say Love. We had lunch, and he said, do you ever think about making that a nonprofit? I'm like, no, I never thought about that. He's like, then people can donate to you. You can actually get funds donated to you. And I'm like, that's a really good idea. And then the extra in me was like, we can get all these different people to jump on. And it just kept growing and growing from there. So that's like the cut and dry version of what Be Extra is. But at the bottom line is just be kind. And how can I make kindness work? Not just for me. To be extra is because of me, and people be your extra, it was a negative. And talking about it, I'm like, I'm just gonna own it, and I'm gonna throw it out there, and anything that I do is gonna be extra, and I'm gonna make it about other people. So some people try to make it seem like it's just about me or that kind of thing, and I'm like, no. So you can't say that, because we're about to bleed in anybody we can. So that's how Be Extra was born.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what you just mentioned triggered something in my memory. Working with young people, I always say the difference between a superhero and super villain is how they use their power, right?
Absolutely.
And I always mention to kids, like, when they say you talk too much, say, no, I know how to communicate. When they say you're hard-headed, say, no, I know, I know my values. I know my morals. So yeah, taking that negative into a positive it's awesome. It's what I, quote unquote, preach to kids, to people around me. And so that's awesome. Awesome story. It is super interesting how shoes are the core. It was the core.
Yep, that's the draw.
But you also you do photography, you do food banks and food closets, and how it's morphed from
just
shoes.
Just the shoes. Yeah.
But again, was it just shoes?
Yeah.
Right. It was
people, really.
Right.
And shoes is just a draw.
Right.
It was like, that's what gets people's attention.
Right.
Because when you meet somebody, the first thing they do is really, they judging you, they looking at your feet, So
sizing you up.
That's sizing you up. And so that's the entry. And I call it, that's how we fill gaps. So giving you a pair of shoes, I might learn that you don't have a home, or this is going on, or this or that, you need food. And so it just started morphing into there. And honestly, I use social media. It's so bad in a lot of different ways, but I used it and spun that as well. Like, I'm going to use the power of social media to get it out there. So if I'm meeting you and I'm giving you a pair of shoes and I know that you need a size 36 pants, I'm hopping on and putting it on Facebook. Anybody got a size 36? And then that just started morphing and just kept going from there. So
yeah, definitely. You definitely influenced us on using social media and how to use social media. You and there's a few other business owners around our area, but you're definitely a big influence on us.
Yeah, because we are not, at least myself, like, I don't like putting myself out there, and I've learned to do that.
Oh, you killing it.
Yeah.
You killing it. Yeah.
I did, like, during COVID times, you were talking a little bit earlier about like the setup and streaming during COVID.
Yep.
But even when I was streaming and DJing, like, I was never on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a quick shout out, like, "Hey, thank you for listening," or "Hey, I see you, you know, so and so. Thanks for watching again." And I love conversation, but for whatever reason, I was just never same. I was never one to like step um, out of this box and put myself in the forefront.
Correct.
I've been a part of a lot of great things in my life. You know, in the back, or you know, now that I look at it, I don't know if it's so much in the background versus just me not showing it.
Right.
But I've been a part of some great events, some great movements. I remember being 19, 20 and helping throw events to raise funds for a park that burnt down in my hometown, helping do fundraisers for, you know, people who passed, being you know, it's odd, not odd, the way the universe works is Brian and when I was at my last job, we connected and worked together in projects, and so it's the way the universe works.
That's it. Lined us up perfectly.
Yeah. And yeah, it's you know, I listen to a lot of inspirational podcasts and videos, and Gary Vee, who's, you know, well known as being an entrepreneur and an inspirational speaker, said something to a young man who was 19 years old. I just saw this video earlier today. He said, "You can fail for the next 19 years and it wouldn't matter if you got it right that next day."
Absolutely.
And so I think, you know, I think back on my journey and think, oh man, I should have done that before, or I should have been more vocal or more out there. But I think things wouldn't have fallen in place the way it has. So
I agree.
Things happen for a reason.
I remember, well, you're saying you weren't on the mic and that kind of thing, but I remember from our last brunch, you know, we kind of had a gap in our host and that kind of thing. And I seen you take over on the mic. I'm like, that's it right there. It wasn't just the DJ side of it. I mean, you just took over and then you came up. I'm like, I ain't falling for that. You know, y'all behind the scenes stuff. That was great.
There was some mimosas involved.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
that.
I saw it come out. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about right there. So,
and it, you know, it's that old saying, just be more comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
And so
that was great.
I've always done music. When I was in high school, middle school, high school, I made beats. I DJ'd. I used to have a lot of friends that came over and would record at my house. And I tried to rap. I wasn't a very good rapper, but my biggest thing was I didn't like hearing my own voice. And so I'm 38 years old.
Still, I was like,
yeah. You know, the last couple, we've done some trial runs and we've posted some stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't
it's
mind.
Not bad,
You know, me at 38 versus me at like 14, 15, the bass of my voice is a little different, so it don't sound as bad. But yeah, just being more comfortable in your skin and just embracing the journey.
Yeah.
So speaking of journeys, Laura, do you want to talk a little bit about?
How about you start it and then I'll jump in?
We've told our story a few times.
Yeah,
we'll start with 2024. We'll just kind of start there. So we opened in April of 2024. It took a lot for us to get open. We had to transfer a license. We had to get business insurance. So it took us a little bit longer than I think we were hoping for. I think in the back of our mind, I think we knew how long it was going to take, but I think we were so wishful thinking, and also just in full transparency, also just waiting for money to come in or needing money to come in. But along the way, we kind of started a little cheat sheet or a cheat code. April's my birthday, so we invited a lot of the folks that we know, but a lot of the people that came were from out of town. We do have friends, some really close friends here. They were here, but for the most part, that first big night was a lot of our family and our friends from out of town. And then it kind of, again, it was a little boost in the very beginning, and then we realized very early that we can't just open our doors and people are going to flock in. So we tried that for a while. We had the doors open. You know, we were running pretty
on social media. We were trying, posting and doing that. But
even our hours in the beginning, we were wide. I think we were trying to kind of compete with what what the norm is around
Mhm.
here,
Yeah.
or what people are used to. And we kind of sat down and had a realization that one, our overhead is just too high if we're trying to open at 8 in the morning and close, late in the night. So we kind of had this come to terms like, okay, let's shorten down our hours, but let's make the most out of those hours. And one of the things that we seen was there was a few events that we had thrown, and when we started using social media
Mhm.
and doing like the events as like an events page,
Mhm.
we started to see the like the people were
People
showing,
were coming. Yeah.
Mhm.
they were. So then we kind of sat down and game planned and said, okay, like we need to
Do these events or
Yeah.
do something,
Yeah.
and we did we were trying to do Sundays because Sundays were really slow,
Right.
and so we were doing uh Soul Sunday or
R&B Sundays.
R&B Sundays. And shout out to Rod,
Oh,
who
yeah.
is a huge supporter of us. Kind of threw around the idea. He hosted the first one. We ran with it for a few weeks, and I think during one of those Sundays, that's when Brian kind of came in and talked
Mhm.
about,
Mm-hmm.
hey, like let's do this. Needs to be like an event.
An
Mhm.
event, but different.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Very
And I already
different.
had it stuck in my mind, but we'll talk about that
Yeah.
later. But I had it stuck in my mind. But once I seen that, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. So then we started events.
Yeah.
We tried. I mean, we've had bands, we've had comedians, we have comedy nights. We helped throw. We kind of spearheaded a car show that closed down the street from.
Yeah. That was fun.
That was fun. That was a lot of work. It was
and that's
hot.
that's our now annual. That's our hope, right?
Yeah, we want to
to
do
do
that
it annually.
annually.
Yeah.
That's one of our big events. And we've hosted sip and paints. We've done
Mhm.
Trivia nights.
trivia
We've done
nights,
single mixers.
singles mixers. We've
And
actually,
all that in a year, less than a
Yes.
year.
right.
So-
We've also connected with the community, and that's
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
for us that was huge.
That's like the biggest thing is just having the community support. But not just, I don't know.
And I think part of this podcast we talked about like create or being game changers, right? Community
Yeah.
game changers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think hosting like the Yuba Sutter Chamber of Commerce's
Ambassadors event.
event,
Yep.
this is Kiwanis.
Yep.
The Kiwanis, I believe, hosted a luncheon.
Mhm. With Angie when she came over.
Oh,
Yeah, I
don't
think
remember if
so.
that was it.
The Rotary Club, the Mayor's of Rotary Club.
that's what it was,
Sorry,
the Rotary
Rotary Club.
Shout out, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
Rotarian. Gotta shout that out.
But the Rotary Club.
Yeah, and just I think it's cool. It's unique that the space morphs.
Yeah.
If you come in for one event and you come back for another one, you're like, wait, like
It's not.
The artwork stays the same, but the furniture moves around
Yeah.
and it fits.
I think
everything
that's the
we've done.
cool thing that we're able to move our furniture because we have such a big space that we adapt to what we need, right?
Right.
Or not. I don't know if that's the word, but
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
Completely.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we move, and it's like, oh no, this works for, and we learned like what works for what
Mhm.
kind of event. So it's cool. It's cool.
Just
'Cause-
like you're doing this podcast right here.
Yeah.
It's set up.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and I think part of like the journey so far is I think this is any business, any nonprofit is investing in yourself.
Yes.
So we've done that. We've taken some chances. We've we've helped support some of other events that they weren't as successful. A lot of learning lessons.
Correct.
Some of them were a big financial hit,
Mhm.
but you weather the storm and you come out stronger
yeah,
for it.
we learn and just keep on going.
Yeah. But yeah, just like Brian said, all within 9 months.
Yeah.
Mm.
How much we learned and how much we grew and
How much
it's
we've done.
Yes,
Yeah.
like it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy to think about how much we have done. And it's cool when I talk to people and they come in like, man, you guys do a lot of events. It's like we do a lot of
Yeah.
events. So it's cool. It's cool to, and I, it's like the same thing I tell them, just follow us. And they're like, yeah, oh yeah, we follow you guys and we see it. You guys are always doing something. So it's cool. It's cool to hear that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're 9 months in. One of our well-known events is our R&B Brunches.
Love them.
So we've hosted 2 of them. Both of them have sold out within days.
Yep.
Second one within hours.
Yeah, 24 hours and we sold out.
Yes. But I think, and we'll talk about this, but I think one thing I love about the brunches is, again, we talked about community. One thing that, if you don't get anything outside of this podcast, is how much we love community and what it means to us. And it doesn't have to look traditional, right? Like, Brian, I see you all the time on social media. It's not the traditional,
Nope.
Hey, come to this building, receive X, Y, and Z. You're no questions asked. You need something, we'll help you get, we'll connect you to it. If I don't have it on hand, you're in the streets, man. Like,
Yep.
Like literally in the
like
street.
literally. That's
Yeah.
right.
yeah. And so again, it's inspirational to see that, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm like, damn, there's Brian
But
doing it
no.
again.
See, but the thing is, now y'all jumping in right
Yep.
with me.
yeah.
I know, and it's so crazy because like I'll talk to people and I'm like, oh, our R&B brunches, and then I start telling them about you and what Be Extra is, and they're like, what? Like you guys? Oh, they take donate, and I'm like, yes. Like if you guys ever need to drop off clothes, if you guys have extra, like bring it in.
Yeah.
I'll get it to him, and it's cool to hear that. They're like, oh, definitely, So I'm like, okay, it makes me feel good too, that they want to contribute too.
Correct.
So like you said, just being able to reach out to more people is cool.
Correct. And while we're here, I'm always look back. I always like to stand over there in the corner and look back. I'm like, all of these people are here. I don't even know if they know what they're really doing.
Yeah.
For the whole community as far as giving back and that kind of thing. But just seeing it where I think people want to help and want to do that, but they don't know how. But why not come to a brunch?
Yeah.
And have some fun.
Yeah. And I think that's a great starting point. If you don't mind talking a little bit about what you mean about how they're helping.
So proceeds from the brunch go right back out to the streets, like literally. It's buying shoes. It's we plug in different resources. We've got somebody's hair done before. We've helped cover different resources here and there, and some stuff we don't put out publicly because you don't want it there. But from stuff from the brunch or proceeds that are coming back from the brunch, literally turn it right back around and go out to the street, and then it brings awareness, right?
Yeah.
And so I meet somebody here, you guys meet somebody here at the brunch, and the next thing you know, they're calling me up, hey, I got 10 pair of shoes for you to get out. And that's really it. It's even more than money side of it or fun side of it, is the connection.
Right.
And they're seeing somebody somewhere, and hey, I seen the guy over at Walmart. They'll hit me up, I met you at the brunch, and then next thing you know, we got a connection and we built on something.
That's awesome.
That's
cool. That was a huge reason why we were like, yes, let's do this with Brian. We've talked about it before. This is, I don't want to say easy, but this is something that we probably could have done in-house. But why, right? Why it's, I think I don't come from money. I don't come from, I had enough growing up, but we were always sharing.
Yeah.
Right. I grew up in a very communal neighborhood.
Perfect.
Across the street from my childhood home were my childhood best friends, and there's 7, his 6 siblings, there's 7 of them, and me, my brother, and my sister. And then down the street, literally, across the street from Paloma's to Brick, like the same distance, I had family, an aunt who lived there with her, with all my cousins. And so we all shared resources. And so for us that was part of our goal as a business owner and being here in the heart of Marysville was, yes.
We're here for,
we're a business. We're a business.
We're in business.
But it's not all why. That's not why
Correct.
We got into business. One
Correct.
of our biggest things is how could we help people? And one of the ways I know is by people having a good time, people smiling, feeling safe.
Can't beat it.
Right? Like having a safe space. I don't want to get ourselves in trouble, but we had a large amount of people in here for both of the events, and with 0 incidents. Zero drama, with 0 people overly intoxicated. the spirits were high, but I don't,
Mhm.
again, not to a point where we felt fearful for people leaving here.
Right.
And in the case that people did have too much, we you know,
We had them
We
a
had-
safe ride
Yeah,
home.
there
Yeah.
was Ubers available,
Yeah.
and each event will have somebody that's available that can take care of that. So.
yeah. So you mentioned a little earlier you had that you seen it before we talked about it.
Yes.
So do you want to share a little bit
So
about that?
I came to actually we set up right outside your door. We
Oh,
did a veterans event for one of our photo booths, and one of the attendants was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go in there. Can see if we can plug in. Just literally plug in, and that's what we're doing. We're plugging in. Okay, we'll see if we can use their power." And then I'm looking. I'm like, so I already had the idea. My wife kind of threw it out there. We need to go to an R&B brunch. And then as extra as I am, I'm like, why don't we just do our own? And I was trying to find a spot probably 2 months before I met you guys, trying to find a spot that's perfect location for it. And, you know, kind of just here and there. But we were here during that event. And as soon as I walked through the doors, I'm like, this is it. So I had to meet you.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, let me get her in the photo booth first. And
Yeah.
then just like, I got an idea. Let me run that by you guys. And then from there, it was just all set. And then when I heard y'all purpose, you know, you don't want to just be a bar. You want to be a vibe. You want to be a part of the community. I'm like, this is definitely it. I'm kind of drawn to that.
Mm.
So, you know, I'm big in God's purposes and lining me up with the right stuff and the right people. And, you know, that's just what I do. And then sometimes it might take a little bit, probably like, who's this guy coming at us with all of this extra stuff on that end? And it takes a minute for people to trust where I'm coming from. But, you know, I knew at some point, I'm like, I'm going to get it figured out for them. And then when I seen how quick y'all were to jump into stuff, you know, you and I were texting back and forth about helping somebody, you know, this before we even done a brunch.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm right where I need to be when it comes to this kind of thing. So, yeah, I seen it a couple months ahead of time, but as soon as I walked through the doors, I'm like, this is the spot.
That's funny because
It's like a love, like
That's it. Like, if it had music.
Yeah.
I remember it was the stand down
yeah.
event that they host. I think last year was their first one.
I felt so bad when Cass came in. She's like, I'm just trying to see if I can plug in. I said, oh yeah, for sure. I said, there's a plug right there. I said, I think I have an extension cord. Like, I got you.
Yeah. And I remember Lada was like, hey, just a heads up, I let them use the outlet. I'm like, no heads up, like, you know, like
see, we were stressing because we were supposed to plug into the poles, but they weren't working. I'm like, oh man, we need power. And it's super simple for you guys, and that just took everything down from us.
No, like, there's certain things that like for us, it's like it's not that big of a deal.
No, it's like, dude, you need help, we're here to help. Like, if we can help, we'll help you.
Yeah, and it can be as simple as like we've done it a couple times, just throwing a speaker out there, play some music while events are going on downtown. We're just lucky enough to have that stuff, right? So we have it on hand. Why not? No use to keep it ourselves, you know, to keep it for ourselves. So we can share it, we will. But that was interesting that you had kind of. I remember Lisa telling us the story about how she wanted to go to an R&B brunch, and that she didn't think that you were
correct. We were just trying to find a day to go, and I was like, why don't we just do our own?
And I'm so glad it worked out. And
me too.
And the way it worked out too, it was
the first. I think we were all stressed the first one because it was the unknown. So I think that day we were all like,
until 11 o'clock. When 11 o'clock came, it was like
we had the countdown. Remember?
It was like But up until then, we didn't know, like you said, what to expect. We did have tickets sold, but what does that mean? You know what I mean?
And the line out the door.
Ooh, I look at that picture all the time. So y'all know.
Brian had to be extra. So if you guys have never seen the pictures, he put a red carpet out there. We put did you have
the velvet ropes are out there?
Yeah, the velvet ropes. And there was a line, like, I don't know, at least 30, 40 people maybe out there. And there was an event that day too. So there was a
out on the street.
Event,
so some people kind of confused, like, okay, is that like part of it or not part of it? And it was a whole just our own thing, but it was super cool just for other people to see that too. So it was cool.
It was. I think it, for me personally, it super exceeded any
I think for us and for everybody else.
Yeah,
Because I don't think
like,
they expected
didn't.
all that.
And I think that's what I think that's what we all love is once they came, oh my God, look at the spreads, you know.
Yeah.
Denise had us lined out, you know,
Yeah.
with the food going in and the music was popping
Yeah.
and, you know, they had mimosas going and the vibe was, like you said, there's no drama because everybody's smiling.
Right.
So,
yeah, shout out to Denise and David with Edible Memories
Yep.
killing
for
it.
hosting or
time.
Yeah.
Catering the
Catering,
event.
Yeah.
Way over deliver, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So I'm gonna share a little bit of insight.
Please.
I on the music side wasn't worried about it,
Mhm.
just because that's my vibe.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like it takes me back to my early days of DJing when I was just DJing on vinyl and all I had were records from family members, you know.
Yeah.
As I was building up my music collection before digital switch happened. So for me, it's like, man, cool. I can go like
I
deep
know
into
this,
this.
yeah.
I could go deep into this. But then I also took some chances and went to maybe not your typical R&B music, but you know, maybe adjacent to R&B.
Yeah.
Went some, you know, like Latin freestyle music or 80s, 90s freestyle music. And you know, and just the energy was incredible the whole day, morning, literally. But on the music side, I knew that, like I knew, because the one thing about me, I'm kind of a control freak.
Okay.
So for me,
Tell it.
I knew I could control that.
Yeah.
And so part of my stress before the event, I think, was not knowing, you know, I think we had, you know, everyone runs on their own time, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't know what somebody had before they were getting to us. And so, you know, you're waiting on tables to get here. You're waiting on the food to get here. Not that anything was late, but just in my own head, my own timeline, like we're cutting it close. But again, they're professionals.
Right.
They know what they're doing. It'll be ready before go time. And so like the countdown that you were mentioning, prior to the event, Brian was giving us time update.
Yeah. Oh no, Michael David.
Oh,
Remember
Michael,
he was
yeah,
out
yeah.
on the
Yeah, 'cause
mic.
I
He's
was
like, all right.
Give it every
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Give it how much time is left.
It was like when you're the bakers, you know, when
Yeah, it
they're
felt like a cooking show.
the cooking
Absolutely.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with like 3 minutes to go, we were ready.
Yeah.
And I remember we started the music playing before they got here.
Right.
They could hear it outside. And then it was just like, it almost reminded me of like in not the bad ways, but it was almost like a scene from a movie.
Yeah.
Like where people are like rushing in to see
Yeah.
like their favorite
Yeah.
band or
Yeah.
their favorite. Get it? Granted, I know they're running in to get their mimosas,
Yeah,
but
they were.
but it just that visual was like, okay, like
Right.
it is go time
Yeah,
now.
correct.
So that was again my kind of point of view from the music side, which again I knew I had control of. You know, shout out to you and your crew for compiling a playlist, but I don't think there was a song on there I didn't have or I had to look up.
Right. And it was, you know, my wife, Madisa, that's what we do. And actually kind of the R&B brunches, before there were R&B brunches, we used to do that in the living room. And so she had a whole playlist. And then we talk about, and I don't think we even told you about this. You were reading the room.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's an R&B brunch, but you can go something adjacent and then it gets packed. And I wasn't expecting that side of it. And it was off the hook.
Yeah.
And then it just kept going. And that's what people are expecting. Because I think some people come in, don't know what to expect from an R&B brunch.
Right.
And so you get the R&B. That, again, like my shoes, that's the draw. But it's a good time is where it's at.
Right.
And you read it perfectly. It's perfect.
I'll touch on that in a
Okay.
couple. Or I want to ask a lot of like her point of view as like setting up the bar, like for the first one. Like what was?
Well, because we had to prep the mimosas. That was like my biggest thing. Just having those, and I didn't know how much or what, you know. So here I am just pouring like all these pictures. I'm like, all right. And then we had them, you know, in the beginning, the first one we had all the glassware set up, and we had more than what we needed.
Right.
And then the second one we kind of knew that. So, but it was just like chaotic in the back, getting limes ready, getting all that stuff ready. And it wasn't as bad for the first one, but the second one, because I think we were still new, where people didn't know our drinks. And so for the second one, as soon as that door opened, oh man, that bar was full and people were already getting drinks. So I think that was like pretty cool to see the first one and the second one, how much busier the bar was, because everybody was jumping on those mimosas, but they were ordering drinks on top of that too, which was, it was cool. It was fun. You know, we were barely able to keep up with the amount of drinks that were being asked for, but it was fun. It was fun. And then the help, you know, that we had from Brian's crew, like that was so helpful. I had a, you know, I can't think of her name, but she was out washing dishes. Yeah, she helped us just wash all these dishes, and she was like, nah, you guys are not gonna run out of dishes. I was like, girl, get it. Like, she was on it. It was fun. It was cool to see that. So yeah, it was busy back there.
Yeah. From the outsider in, I can see like your facial expression. Like when you're in the zone, you're in the zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first one, like you were in the zone
the
whole time. The second one, there was glimpses of you, like, and shout out to our friend Joaquin for taking some pictures of the second one. But he caught some great pictures of you interacting.
Correct. And no, for
sure. Kind of let the guard down a little bit.
Yeah. Right? Like we said, because the first one we didn't know. It was the unknown. So I'm a hawk. Like, eyes are out there, you know, and I'm like, what is going on? What's going to happen? But then, you know, then I loosen up. So the second one, I was a lot better. And this next one, I'm going to be even more better.
So
somebody tell about the next one. One of y'all, what's the next one about?
So the next one will be this month, obviously the 18th. And I'll be celebrating my birthday because it's the 16th.
Let's go.
So Susan Bautista, and her and I actually share a birthday. I don't know if I should be saying that, but anyways, her and I, when she told me her birthday was on the 16th, she's like, hey, I want to be at the brunch. And I'm going to be celebrating my birthday. And I asked her, oh, what day is your birthday? She's like, the 16th. I said, nah. I said, you and I share a birthday? I was so excited. So I was like, yes, we get to celebrate together. So yeah.
So Susan's with Scrap Monkey.
Yes,
Scrap Monkey. Yeah. Shout out to Scrap Monkey.
Yeah,
love them.
So I think the one thing that and I'll share this personally, Lada doesn't really celebrate her birthday. We do a lot of times we do trips, just kind of her and I will go do something. Our son's birthday is at the end of the month, so a lot of the focus is on you know, his parties and, you know, getting that stuff situated. So we've kind of, Brian and I kind of pressured her into this one's for you.
This is yours.
Yeah,
this is yours.
So shout out to Brian for
shout out to hubby over there making sure this happens.
So January 18th, tickets will go on sale
in the next couple days. So probably by the time you hear this, they will be available. So you can check check our social medias at Paloma's, Marysville, and at bextra.org. So you can check those two places.
As soon as Brian posts it, we'll share it.
Yeah.
But like, get your tickets. I'm like,
we're
Brian and I,
we are
we are warning you, because last time we were like, okay, when are we going to drop the tickets? Like, we're getting kind of close. Brian's like, no, it's good. Like, we'll be okay. And then as soon as tickets dropped, I think, how many hours were we in when we were already halfway?
Because I was on the road. I was going to Tennessee.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then when I was like, all right, I'm about to hit play. And then we were doing updates. You were like, oh my God, 25 or sold already. And then, you know, people were buying them in chunks.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's going to sell out. It's going to sell out quick. By the end of this weekend, it's going to be sold out. And it was.
I think, within 24, 48 hours, it was sold out. So
you're getting your warning, guys. Yep. Y'all getting your warning.
So you mentioned reading the room.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to touch on that because I think it'll connect to the kind of the expectations for the upcoming one. That's just old school DJing.
That's what
you know, like the basics of reading the room. You know, kind of go in a direction. There's like a running joke in here in Paloma's with Josh, who bartends for us. You know, I read the room, and so then I'll start going to a certain genre, or I'll hit this little pocket for a while. And he always says, what's he always say?
Yeah, no, he always like, well, what does he say?
Man, Tutti knows his people.
Oh yeah, Tutti knows his crowd. He knows, he knows the right music. And I have to say that being with him, you know, for the last 13 years, I am such a judge when it comes to listening to another DJ. I'm a critique.
Yeah.
And I've known he's taught me a lot about it. I cannot DJ for my life if I wanted to.
Same.
But I can hear it, and you know, just learning from him, I'm like, man, this guy sucks. Like, you know, and Tutti's an amazing, not because he's my husband, but he's so good.
He is.
He's a good DJ. And I'm like, not because he's my husband, but he's good. And then I always tell everybody, like, nah, he's aight. He's aight.
You got to do that. You got to keep in, you know.
She already knows.
Yeah.
There's a few things that I will get big headed about. DJing and coaching are kind of my
You have
things.
to, sir. You
Yeah.
have to.
The rest of me, it's pretty humble, but
Yeah.
those two things I do. I'll play low key, like, oh, thank you, oh yeah. But in my head,
He's
I'm
like,
getting
can't walk out the door.
A couple of times I thought you was gonna bust a rhyme on the mic. That's how you was feeling it. I was like, let's go.
So reading the crowd, it's for me, it was one of the fundamental skills of DJing. But you mentioned how the crowd started moving towards, you know, in front of the stage area to dance. And so we talked about this. I think it was just you and I, Loud and I, when we did we recorded just the two of us having a conversation. We talked a little bit about the events. And I mentioned the one thing I think that's a big difference in the way we do R&B brunches is that community piece.
Yes.
At most typical R&B brunches, the dancing, the singing happens at your table. At your booth. But there's just something about the energy that
it's just everybody starts getting together and meshing.
We're literally seeing people pull each other out to dance, and all walks of life.
Yeah.
That's what I love. That's the best part, man.
We were just talking about a lady.
Is it Sheila? She
Sheila.
posted Sheila.
So
she celebrated her mom's 77th birthday.
Ooh, that was great.
And the first one. And I remember her, she had private messaged us and was like, hey, I just want to make sure that it's all going to be R&B music, because we have gone to some and they play other music. I said, no, it's going to be all strictly R&B music. And she's like, okay, like we're going to be celebrating my mom's birthday. And she hates when they start throwing, you know, rap music or any of that. And I said, no, like it should be just strictly R&B. And she had the best time of her life. So yeah.
If you see the video of her out there, it'll make you emotional.
Yeah.
So fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I would say that's like a big part of what makes us different.
Yeah.
And what makes that event different.
Yeah.
Is I think it ties back to community, right?
Yep.
And like I mentioned, all walks of life.
And all ages and
complete melting pot when you walk in and see it. And if you watch R&B brunch videos, none looks like the ones that we do.
Oh, none at all.
Yeah.
And kind of like what Lado was saying, at some point in those brunches, they turn, for lack of a better term, ratchet.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But
way to say that out there.
Thanks.
But I think here, keeping with the theme, again, maybe it's not 100% R&B, but it's R&B adjacent, but it's all fun music. It's something you will remember, you know, maybe, you know, grandma or mom cleaning the house and that music was on in the background. You know, my sister's 8 years older than I, so a lot of the music, she put me on to a lot of that music because you know how it is. Back then, when it was only radio dial or tapes or CDs, whoever was the oldest was in charge. You didn't get to even touch. You know, you didn't have your own device to be able to listen to your own stuff. So I got put on to so much music, and I think like these R&B brunches is, for me, it's almost like a tribute to everyone in my life who's put me on the music.
Great saying tribute, it is.
Yeah.
And I just love it. You know, we have people, especially at the last one, that don't even know what R&B really is.
Right.
And they were having a great time. Brian, this was great, you know, and would come again. And kind of do that. And I just think how you transition into genres. I mean, you probably could throw in some country music and people wouldn't even know, but it still flows like that.
Right.
And everybody has a great time and everybody's smiling. Like literally, that's my favorite spot, to just look back and just everybody's smiling.
when you put that jacket on, man,
It's go time.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different, and it's for other people, and that's the huge part, and it's community.
Oh, definitely. And thank you to not just yourself, but to your team.
Oh, the Be Extra volunteers.
Yeah,
are great.
The volunteers that show up. I think a lot of them show up because they want to be part of the
part of it. Oh no, for sure.
Yeah,
for
I got it.
Yeah.
No, but they
like
do a
20
great
volunteers.
job. Yeah, they do a great job. I think again that first one, we were all kind of working in our silos, trying to figure out, not stepping on toes and stuff like that. But the second one, your crew, we were able to give them direction. There was no ego. I think that's the biggest thing.
I love that.
There was no ego with anybody. Shout out to the Be Extra volunteers. And we've had some extra help come in for us as well. But everyone that's come in, it's just made it so much smoother. And shout out to the people that show up. Shout out to, if you were here at either one of the events or at both of them, thank you so much. I don't want to jinx ourselves, but I will say it is amazing that there was like little to no spills with how many people we had, with how many drinks were being served out there.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's part of, without trying to throw shade at anybody else or anything else. I think we have a mature crowd that comes.
Correct.
And I'm not saying age, just saying behavior, the mature behavior that shows up, which makes it easier for us to want to keep doing these.
Correct.
I know the first one we were a little nervous because we're like, man, I was more nervous.
He was the more nervous one.
Just seeing videos of people bottomless mimosa wasted and
falling into bushes.
Throwing up in corners and stuff like
Absolutely.
that. But again, we've been blessed and lucky enough that everyone that comes responsible. They come and they're responsible, and then shout out to the crew and the team for keeping an eye on people and making sure that people are still having a good time.
And that was the hard part for me because I knew it would work like that, but how do I prove that to you guys without really knowing me yet and how it goes? And then the folks that I see coming, and I kept checking the guest list. So I'm like, okay, oh yeah, they're coming. Oh yeah, they're coming. And then I was like, I got to find a way to make sure Tutti is secure in this. Got this, sir. And then as soon as you start hitting the tunes, it was all over. And then you being back here with the bar and how you were handling it and all of that, it just, you guys relaxed everybody to have fun, and this is great. And the whole thing is to get people keep coming back, and different people. And we don't have to go out of town to do that. Matter of fact, people coming out of town to come here. I think it's starting to there's a buzz around it about them. Oh yeah.
We don't do
them. I think right now we're kind of on like an every other month. There was a little bit of a gap between our first and second. That's because of football season and scheduling. But I think there's a buzz building, and knock on wood that
it continues.
18th is another awesome event. I think there's potential for this thing to be
more than just
it's ready,
right?
It's ready.
And without spilling beans, there is some stuff on the horizon that we're trying to look, we're working on and trying to amplify this event in some sort. So I think, you guys have anything else you want to add?
That was it.
Just thank you.
No, thank you. Like,
Grateful.
I think we make such a great team.
I know. I brag
so
on,
natural.
I brag on our team all the time. Like, if it was something new that came up, I would take y'all with me. You know what I mean? Like, this is my crew. This is how it is. And you know how my mind works on like expanding and that kind of thing. This is the kind of team, that I was always hoping and praying that I could establish. But I knew we would work out well. I just had to prove it to y'all. It was good. I felt it.
Yeah, I'm my kind of, I will trust you until you break my trust.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, she's a lot more guarded up front.
Oh, for sure.
But I think when it clicks, it clicks. And I think that's where we're at right now. And it's crazy to think that like we literally only have known each other for less than a year, but it feels like
don't feel like it.
Feels like years.
Like it,
So to both of you, thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
y'all.
Too.
Be on the lookout for more content.
Oh, yeah.
This is something we're going to do more regular.
Yep.
Extra real with Palomas.
That's it.
We got to figure out our intro and our outros, but
That's it. Wait
work
till y'all
on it.
see. Y'all wait till you see the next one.
Yeah. Really quick,
Yes.
where can they find you?
They can find me at bextra.org, and then social media is just Xtra Ariel on Facebook, Instagram. I'm right there. We're all over the place. Kind of getting people always tease us that you're everywhere. I'm like, not really, but I want you to think that.
Hey, the perception is that you're
That's the
everywhere,
perception. That's
which
it.
is great. It's a great thing
That's
to be out there. So he takes, he accepts tons of
Donations.
Yeah.
but he also offers services. So you can find that on his website.
Yep.
But just kind of a quick
Yep.
glance or overview. He does photography,
Yep.
photo booths, drone
Mhm.
photography or videography, and then he has the sparkles, the cold spark,
The cold spark machine.
indoor
That's it.
spark,
You got
sparkling
it.
machines.
The,
that he was-
last time I was like, what is that? He's gonna burn the damn place down.
Y'all read, then I forgot about it. I'm like, I could have been doing this more.
No, I did see the video of you celebrating your Lions win.
Ooh.
So congrats to
Yeah,
the
I set
Lions.
the smoke alarm off. But talk about that on a different episode.
Uh,
Sorry, babe.
And then Paloma's Marysville at Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to get involved, our volunteer spots are limited, but you can reach out to Brian or ourselves, and we can get you connected.
Got it.
Yep.
So
And I know you asked where you can find us, but you can find us in these Marysville streets here.
that's,
y'all.
yeah,
Marysville, Yuba City streets. We're doing something
right.
all the way through. So if you want to help out and volunteer with that, jump on with us as well. And
Sounds good.
you can get on with them or with me, and then we're all connected. So
Right. So, well, episode 1 in books.
that's
Yes.
it. Great
All right.
job, y'all.
That's it.
Thank you.
Great job.
All right.
It's a wrap.
Great job, y'all. It probably went longer than we thought. Huh?
I know. How many?
Do that all